Hello. We continue our journey, as I promised from last time. And we are going to study the cookery terms. Wherever you go in the kitchen, international hotels, restaurant, the chefs only speaks the words explanation, expression. It doesn't explain. It just says, do me this, do me that. So they get the short names, every item. So today I start, I don't know how long it's going to take. Alphabetical order. I'm going to give you the expression and the names, the vocabulary, starting alphabetically from the A, B, C, D. Hopefully you will understand. Of course, in the hotel school, you learn some of it, but in the professional life, real life, when you work with the chef, internationally known, they don't give much attention to the staff because he's professional. He wants to work with the professionals, so he just says names. So today there's just a single word or the expression. So sometimes the meaning means so many other meanings. So I'm going to try to give you exact meanings. I have my own sources, several books, English, French, and Italian, Hungarian. We started with the Abba, Abba, and we go Abba. In Turkish, people who understand Turkish as well, means sakatat. Abba is the delicate pieces of the animal. For the lamb, for example, the liver, kidneys, and pancreas. They're the brain. They call Abba. Intestine, stomach. So in Turkey, we are very fond of them. And in Italians, in Europe, the veal, or sometimes they use pork mostly. I mean, in Milano, I saw this Volkswagen. He was cooking something. I saw some stomach. I said, oh, I remember we have a special restaurant. They just cook brain salad and stomach. İşkembe, we call it in Turkish. They make a stew with onion. And usually people go in the evening after the heavy session of drink. They go there. They smoothed up the stomach. But it was the pork. I didn't, of course, taste it. Even they do intestine, saute intestine. It's like a stew, they make it with the sauce. They put in a small cups, they sell it in the middle of Milano. In Turkey, it's not allowed. We have special shops. Very busy at night. Daytimes not so, because they cook it in the big cauldron. Yes, the head, Abba head, yes, we cook. These işkembeci shops in Turkey, they put the heads of lamb in front of the window to attract the people. Of course, when the foreigner comes, they says, oh my God, they eat heads of sheep. It's delicatessen in this part of the world. It's delicatessen. You eat the pork heads, we don't say anything to it. So respect. They put it in oven, they take it out. Some people eat or the whole belly. There's a brain inside the tongue inside as well. But tongue is very precious. Some restaurant, they don't sell it, or shops, they don't sell it with the tongue because it's expensive. With plenty of thyme and black pepper and rosemary sometimes. Yes, goes well. Of course, you eat it as a salad or something like the brain salad as well. It comes. The tongue is most expensive. Most expensive. The usual preparation also takes time because you cook it. If you cook so hard, so hot, the tongue gets stiff and shrunk as well. So you cook it in a courbouillon. Courbouillon, not very savory. Water, herby water, and you bring it to boil. Onion, herbs with it, thyme as well. And if you like spice bake, bring to boil. Then you add the tongue. You brush the tongue first of all. Get the cartilaginous pieces out. Then you cook about several hours, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, but not boiling. If you boil, it gets stiff. And hard to take the skin off because you have to get the skin off, then slide it. Okay, aiguillette. Aiguillette, aiguillette. Start with A as well. Aiguillette. If you take, for example, tongue, to serve it to tongue, you slice it thin slices. Any meat cut in thin slices, mortadella, or roast beef, cold roast beef. Before, if you're clever enough, you cut it by hand, but usually slicing machine, electric slicing machine. We call it aiguillette. Also, in the restaurant, when you have a carvery, is not a posh restaurant, but it's a gourmet restaurant. You carve the duck in front of the customer. Because I did it, I know. I was working in the restaurant as well. You take the skin off on the wooden serving table. You hold with the left hand or right hand if you are left, you use your left. You fix it, the whole duck, then you carve it in thin slices. We call it aiguillette. It can be large or it can be half, but it must be thin slices. Or prosciutto, they do it in the machine. And I carved as well leg of veal, jambon. Not veal, but jambon, pork, a special pork, smoked from Spain. You carve it in front of the customer, and we have a special, very thin, like a sword, very sharp. You fixed your leg of pork, and steady. You have a slice it. In summer you sell very well, in winter as well. And I have a portion, maybe 2 slices, not too much. But if it's so many people, of course you have to put. They sell it by gram because only people who knows the taste, they eat it. It's a delicatessen. Jambon de Parma also is popular. It must be long, thin and long slices, aiguillette. Animals is the brain and kidneys and a fillet of lamb, the delicate pieces of the lamb, they call it animals or criadillas, Spanish. When we prepare in the kitchen, you have to prepare some front preparation, and it can be macédoine de légumes, it can be roasting potatoes for some condiments together. We call it appareil. For example, stuffed duck or stuffed chicken or stuffed quails, any savory preparation. It can be mirepoix, vegetables, but very fine, very fine. We add some herbs as well. According to the recipe, we call it appareil. Then we stuff the chicken or any game. Quails, but it should be not too stiff. When the quail you cook it in the oven, yes, nice flavor. It comes from this appareil. Aromat. We call it aromat. Aromat, I mean, every restaurant, kitchen, or small kitchen, big kitchen, always have aromat, aromatics, herbs, thyme, parsley, rosemary, and sage, marjoram, my favorite, marjoram, dry or fresh, and French onion, of course garlic and onion, and small onions, they are stronger. Also some spices. Most of the spices, you know, there's a black pepper, and the white pepper as well. White pepper is stronger than. Some grain of mustard, our favorite. When you make a roast beef, you make all this in a paste, and you rub it on the roast beef. You cook it, I mean, you put it in oven, and when beef came to medium rare, you take it out, you put some mustard, normal mustard, then you put all your mixed herbs on top of it, or you mix it with oil, you spread it. You don't put it in front in the hot oven because it gets burned and doesn't taste as good as the fresh ones. To go anything in the oven, previously maybe I mentioned it, anything in the oven, for example, to hold roast chicken. Roast chicken, what you make it, you don't put straight away in the oven. Or shoulder of lamb or leg of lamb, pork. And what you do, you seal it first. On the pan, you seal it first. Give a color. Then, before you put it in the oven, what you do, you put some pork fat. In the Muslim country, you have to select which fat you are going to put, because if you put lamb fat, it gives maybe beef fat. But usually we put some olive oil. But usually not usually, I mean always in the Western world, they call it barde, piece of fat, and put the string around it, and they kept the tender piece of meat on the breast. They kept juicy. If you don't put it, it gets dry. Even chicken you cook in the oven at home, when you cook it up, everybody goes for the leg because it's juicy, and the breast is dry. But if you put some fat, and because in the Muslim country we can't put the pork fat, what we do, we make one aromatic butter, savory butter we call it, and make it like a majun, and we put it under the skin, breast skin, but you don't cut the skin, underneath, slowly, then we put it in the oven. Then you see the breast stays nice and smooth and not dry. But you go all the way to the end of the breast, everywhere. And herbs inside, you can put anything you want, and especially thyme always goes, parsley always goes, give taste, and other fresh herbs in the garden. Dill goes with the fish as well, and of course salt and pepper, and not margarine, please, butter. Make a nice paste and put it under the skin. Of course, you cannot do it with the chicken or poultry, game as well. For example, game, quails, you can do very delicate quails. Pigeon, you can put it. Pheasant, you can put it. In Turkey, we don't have so many hunting birds around, but in the countryside, you might find it. Of course, fat in Europe, they call it, they use it, white fat from the, or bacon, striker bacon especially, striker, more fat in it. Okay, barde. Blanchir, blanche, in French, blanche, blanc, beyaz, white. For example, you're going to cook a piece of meat. It can be lamb or beef. You put in the boiling water. You put in the boiling water to get out all the scum, unwanted ingredients. It can be a piece of bone before you cook it, or you rendering in the oven. We jump to the raw rendering. You put it in a hot oven before you put in the stock. Rendering, all the unwanted, smelly, heavy fat melts away. Also, you can do it, especially for the veal. Veal is tender, veal bones. You put in the boiling water in the casserole, and when you slowly the impurities start coming on the top of the water, you cut it down the heat, medium, and the scum or the white pieces, not the meat, but impurities we call it, the glazing, you collecting. We call it blanchir. On the water or in the oven as well. Okay, blanchir. Blanch the chicken, for example. Chicken legs, chicken tights, for example. They do it. Bouquet garni, you know bouquet garni. Aromatic herbs. What we got inside is the parsley. We put it. We don't put the. We put tige of parsley, not the leaf. We make a nice bouquet. Thyme. We put 1, 2. Bay leaves. Celery stick. In Turkey we don't have celery stick. We have celery raw. But on the edge of the celery raw, you find sticks, small ones. We don't use so many, so they don't grow it like in Europe. In England, you only buy that, or in France as well. In France, they have both. Bouquet garni. You wrap it up with a string. Boom, inside. Braise, we told you, we explained before when we were talking about the meat. Steak. Hard piece of steak, like sirloin steak, contrefilet. You seal it and you put it in a big tray and a little stock, cover up, put in the oven, slow, 180. Braise. You can add some kind of spritz as well, liqueur as well. In Belgium, you know, there's a French-speaking side, Wallons, and Flemish-speaking side, Flemish. And in Belgium is very popular. Steak flamand, braise. They made a lot of onion and seal it in a flour, fry it a little bit and put it in the oven. Boom. Of course, stock, small stock, and you cook slowly, not hard. Rump steak as well, good with it. Cook it slowly and it cooks moist and tender. Got long hours in it. Brunoise vegetables, A and B. B days, braise. Brunoise vegetables. Before we used to cut it by hand. Stick, tige in French, stick. Long stick of carrots, onions, courgette. Some other vegetables, celery, celeriac, and even the potatoes. You can cut it cubes, small cubes. Zar we call it. Smaller than. I mean, it's depending where you're going to use it. If you're using it as a farce, you make it smaller. And you cut small dice, then saute it. Some goes as a sauce, as an accompaniment. Of course, onion always. You put onion first, then carrots, celeriac, turnip sometimes, because onion acidic. What it does, it gives it juice, and the hard vegetables comes. Boom, nicely makes tender. Sometimes you put some tomate concassé. Tomate concassé is far away, tomate concassé, tomate, but we can explain how you make tomate concassé. Any tomatoes, but it must be red tomatoes. You blanch them. Blanchir. We talk about the bones blanching and the vegetables blanching as well. You bring boiled water, and you get your tomatoes same size, and you just cut at the bottom cross. Then take the head of the green piece out. Then you blanch it 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You put it in hot water. Fremir. Fremir means not boiling, but to the point of boiling. So about 1 minute. 1 minute, the skin comes shrivel. Take it out and put it in the ice water because it's hot. You can't take it in your hand. Then, of course, the cuistos start peeling it off. Then cut in half. Get the pips out and cut just the meaty part. We call it concussed tomatoes. So if you in your recipe says vegetables plus tomatoes, you add tomatoes like that. Never put in the skin tomatoes. Okay. The patrons, they don't like it. I mean the customer, they call patron customers. Oui, B finish chapelure. C, chapelure. Chapelure is breadcrumbs, savory breadcrumbs to make pané anything. Make sure that it's freshly made. You make fresh all the time. Usually is you don't make it with the fresh bread. You always have some leftover. Gets harder to do it. If it is white, it's okay, no problem. But if it is a dark or burn corner, you get rid of it, cut it, and cut in cubes. And through the sieve, you get floury. Or you can buy ready-made chapelure. Chapelure we call it. It's normally is a white, yellowish white chapelure. You add some herbs as well, fresh herbs or dry herbs, mix it, and you make to pané. Mostly, you know, you said veal schnitzel. You make it with the chapelure. Of course, ready-made chapelures, they add some other flavor inside. I like it because people like crunchy. People like what we call it in Turkish kıtır kıtır, crunch pieces. I like a Popeye it's popular now. Chicken wings popular. They put crunchiness plus some aromatic herbs. Of course, it's not good all the time because it soaked the oil. But in the tasting, crunchiness is a big factor, quality factor, also gourmet factor as well. So chapelure, we're using it. Of course, there's a Japanese ready-made chapelure as well. Probably you know what I mean. Chaud-froid. Now, maybe we talked before chaud-froid sauce. And to decorate and boiled chicken or boiled turkey or game, pheasant. Cook whole, take the skin off, then you make it with your stock. You added some flour inside, some cream inside, bring it boil and season. You make it comes like a, not a watery, but like a syrupy texture. Not clear. You can add the color as well. It can be pure white. It can be different color. But when you put in on top of the chicken, boiled chicken or turkey or pheasant or leg of lamb, it stands that. It doesn't cool away, run away. It doesn't run away. So we call the shofra. Neither too hot, neither too cold. It's the between. They call it shofra sauce. To decorate a cold piece of meat for the buffet. Or sometimes you can make it just the chicken breast. Put it on a tray, nicely presented, always cold, of course, presented. And stick there, and then it is white, gelatinous texture. Sometimes if it doesn't set, they add gelatin, couple of film of gelatin. So it runs, it stays like you could cover up like that, and then you can decorate it. Shofra sauce, shofrate to make this sauce. And chiffonade. What is chiffonade? Chiffonade is ciselé. For example, sorrel, mint, parsley, some lettuce together, mint. Instead of chop it with a knife, we cut it with scissors. So you put it in the salad or decorate. Chiffonade, we call it. Soup, for example, you do it like that. Eat soup like that. Or tureen of soup. You add next to it in a bowl. When you serve it, boom, you add. In the banquet, we use a big, what you call it, tureen. The soup comes like that, and boom. You don't drink like in the canteen, in a cup soup like that. Soup bowl came in front of you, and then boom. Then you add chiffonade. Basil sometimes is good with it. Ciselé, we took the concassé. Concassé, we explained tomato concassé, how we blanch first, then cut it. It doesn't say concassé the size. Just cut small or big, boom, boom, boom. For mirepoix sebze, we cut it. If it goes to the oven, concassé. Onion, celery, goes with it. Carrots, boom, boom, boom. Carrot, but clean first. Contisé. Contisé, if you use a truffle, for example, a breast of pheasant with a truffle, you make it, in Turkish we call it çentik, small in size. You cut a piece of on the breast of pheasant, then we insert, put it in tiny piece of truffle. Very savory dish, expensive of course, to put a couple of like that, because they goes inside. Contisé, they call it. They do it for the fish as well. Salmon, for example. Salmon, big fish. And you can put some other herbs as well inside. Truffle, but the main is truffle. Contisé. Krepinet. Krepinet, we use it in Turkey as well, krepinet. Krepinet, iç yağ, we call it iç yağ. Very popular krepinet. And in Turkish and some other nationalities, specialty, if you have a mince meat, beef, or lamb or veal especially, you put aromatic herbs, salt and pepper. Then you open your krepinet, you put it inside like a yufka, you cover it up, and you keep it in the fridge. Then when the customer comes, when the order comes, you cook it. The krepinet is fat as well and give taste to the meat. Or it can be the vegetables as well inside. Mücver, for example, but we don't want meaty things, we make it. Then you serve it with the sauce, with the vegetables. Even some make it single and sell it as a sandwich. They cut it after cooked, they cut it krepinet, tasty. Of course, there's the lamb krepinet, veal krepinet, and also pork krepinet. In Muslim country, they don't use pork. Krustatin, krustatin. Now, we use a millefeuille puff pastry. They call millefeuille or puff pastry. And from the puff pastry, they make a small krustat, small pocket of pastry with the lid on. You fill it with different appareil. We learn appareil from appareil. For example, what can be appareil? It can be mushroom, cream, and some other ingredient inside. Some fruit, dry fruit as well. The cornichon bit, caper. So if you fill your krustat, it can be round. They make it the small ones, they go the big ones. So it's served as a starter. In Belgium, we used to make it from sweet bread, krustat, or shrimps krustat, or any mushroom with the, of course, expensive mushroom as well, morel mushroom. Very popular. And also you can make it small ones for a single buffet. You fill up with a Russian salad, for example, you fill them and you can eat it. But we use puff pastry. The main item is the puff pastry. You put it in the oven, comes and crunchy, and boom, everybody likes it. You can use your imagination. And you can serve it cold as well. For example, you have a cold salmon, and next to it you put this as a sporting and carbohydrate, but it comes crunchy. It goes very well. When you make a stock, we said there is a scum, and gathering on top of the water, unwanted impurities. So gather there, and you must take it, boom. So we call it dépouillage also. Dépouillage, dépouiller. You don't take it one lead. on a ladle of it, with a nice spoon, with skim of dépouillage, dépouiller stock. Stock never boils, ladies and gentlemen, always in the corner. Always in the corner. If it makes just blop, blop, that's it. Fremir. You understand fremir? Okay, there's so much to go, huh? Fremir, dépouillage. Ébarber. What is ébarber? Straight away we go from the earth to the sea. Moule. Or seafood. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Any kind of crustacean, I mean coquille like that. They got different names everywhere. In Turkey with that media, mul. There's a little hair hanging in the corner. You must take the hair out. A barbe. And they cut the barb. A barbe. All the cookies has some. While you're cutting it, open it, you take it out. Oysters. You got oysters. Mules. Even the fish we have. Cut the head. Clean it. Emense. We come to the A. A barbe, emense. And escalope. Emense means a cut in thin slice. You cut with the machine or by hand. Of course, running blades is much easier. You know the size and everything. Ham, emense. And by hand as well. Escalope, cutting bias, cut ambier. Why isn't escalope de veau, veal escalope? Thin slice. And you can make it small ones and you put some appareil. Appareil means harç in Turkish. Spicy, savory mince or just the vegetables. You put it in, you put and stick. You make small parcels, then you cook it. Emense. Escalope. We said escalope. Cut in sideways from the leg. Étouffée is to cook slowly but close. You put the lid on it. Étouffée. In the French expression as well. Étouffée means cow. His mouth, he doesn't breathe. So you do same things. Put a small. If the meat is hard, you could slowly and put some cover on top of it. Put the lid on, but you don't open it. Cook slowly. Sometimes, if the steam goes out, just seal it with the flour and water, and steam stays inside. So we call it étouffé. Farcir. You know farce. Always when we cook roast meat, roast chicken, always make one stuffing inside. Farce. Farcir, farce. But don't make it too hard, because when you cook, inside it stays, it doesn't cook. So make it loose. Usually it's breadcrumbs and sage with chicken goes very well. Thyme goes very well, and parsley, of course. Salt and pepper, and a small spice, any spice suitable, and mix it. Lemon skin, even they put for the, if it is turkey, put oranges as well. And you stuff it inside. Some raisin, sweet raisin, you put some pistachio, maybe. Okay, you taste the stuffing first, then stuff it. Farcir. Pleuron, crustadine and the fleuron, made from the puff pastry. Fleuron is just a decorating. You don't stuff it. Make a small half moon, crescent, and star, and you brush it with egg wash. You know egg wash? Did you hear egg wash? So we will tell you next time, egg wash. What is it? Okay? The time flies very quickly. Sorry then. Take care. Okay? Bye.